Hello all, my name is Devanshu Gupta and I welcome you all to EduTap Himachal Pradesh YouTube channel. So we are going to start with the current affairs from November 2021. I wish you all the very best, but before starting on, I would like to tell you the importance of current affairs which could play in your examination, prelims as well as mains. So in prelims, as we all know, based on our previous papers analysis, we have seen around 10 to 15 questions coming up from current affairs every year, right? Just imagine the weightage this could play for you to qualify for your mains exam. And not only that, in your mains exam, these current affairs will play a major role to act as fillers in your writing section. So with on that note, I would like to request you all to consider current affairs to be your 30 minutes of daily revision and your mindful exercise where you will add on from the important discussions, summits, forums, terms and news which are going on around you in the world, in the society. So let's start on with on that note. But before that, I would like to request you all to subscribe to our YouTube channel, press the bell icon so you don't miss any future updates, and join our Telegram channel, which will be your source for our free content plus PDFs of our sessions, right? So the link for the Telegram channel is in the description box below. You can go ahead and join our Telegram channel. So let's get started with our session. The first question that I have for you is that Shakti is an exercise between India and which of the following countries? The options are United Kingdom, Japan, Sri Lanka, or France. Guys, I have a small request. Please bring out your notebooks, bring out your pens or pencils, whatever you like, and note down your answers, and if possible make notes of whatever we'll be studying, because we'll be going through the current affairs a little bit with the background information as well, right? So this is from Defense and News. The subject is polity and governance. The name of the exercise is Shakti, and the question is asking us that exercise Shakti is held between India and which of the following countries? The options are United Kingdom, Japan, Sri Lanka, or France. Guys, if you are able to answer this correctly, please award yourself plus 2 marks. But if your answer comes out to be wrong, you have to award yourself minus 0.66. So that is the weightage of negative marking in our examination. So you can see answering it correctly will give you plus 2, but a wrong answer will deduct 0.66 marks from your overall score, right? So the right answer for this question is France. So if you have given the right answer, very well, mark yourself plus 2. So what is the name of the exercise held between India and UK? The name of that exercise is Konkan Shakti, right? I will repeat this again. Exercise Shakti is linked with France. Exercise Konkan Shakti is with United Kingdom, right? With Japan, we conduct an exercise called GIMEX, right? And with Sri Lanka, we recently conducted an exercise called Mitra Shakti. I'm sorry guys if my handwriting is not that well, but the important takeaways from this would be exercise between India and France is called exercise Shakti. Exercise between India and UK is Konkan Shakti. How do we remember that? Konkan, we can remember that with kingdom, right? And with Japan it is GIMEX. That is, I think, fairly easy to understand. And with Sri Lanka it is Mitra Shakti. And with France we are in a way of conducted the Shakti exercise. Now this was in news in the Economic Times, covered on 12th November, and you can click on this link to go and visit the website where this was covered. So the 6th edition of India-France Biennial Exercise Shakti 2021 is being held at Fréjus, France, right? This is the 6th edition of the exercise. Now there must be some questions coming up in your mind, so we have that information for you. The first edition of the exercise Shakti 1 commenced at Chaubatia, Uttarakhand in 2011, right? The last edition, that means the 5th edition, right, of the exercise commenced at Rajasthan in 2019. A platoon of Gorkha Rifles Infantry Battalion will represent the Indian Army. We need to remember that Gorkha Rifles Infantry Battalion will represent the Indian Army. The exercise will focus primarily on counter-terrorism operations, and its aim will be to enhance the military cooperation and interoperability. Now, this is a common aim between most of the exercises which are conducted between two armies, but we will still remember that for exercise Shakti, the aim of the exercise Shakti 2021 was enhance the military cooperation and interoperability between both the armies, with prime focus on counter-terrorism operations in the light of semi-urban terrain. Right, so we will be focusing on these 2 points over here. So I hope this is clear. I will sum it up for you. You can make notes. Exercise Shakti 2021, 6th edition, held at Fréjus, France, between India and France. 1st edition held at Chobatia in 2011. 5th edition held at Rajasthan in 2019. Gorkha Rifles will be representing Indian Army. Focus on counter-terrorism operations, and main aim to enhance military cooperation and interoperability. Right, so I hope you like this. Moving on to next question. Recently in news, Molnupiravir is a. तो Molnupiravir क्या है? अभी अभी न्यूज में चल रहा है Molnupiravir एक टर्म, वो है क्या? So that is a very simple question, right? Metaverse program, whether it is a metaverse program, or it is a COVID drug, or it is a space rocket, or whether it is a disease. So according to you, what is Molnupiravir? I hope you have heard this or you have read this in recent newspapers. Whether Molnupiravir is a metaverse program, COVID drug, space rocket, or disease, take your choice, mark your answers. I'll be giving you the answer in next 3 seconds. Please mark your answers by then. So Molnupiravir is a COVID drug. Right, before going to the explanation, I would like to tell you metaverse is basically an initiative of Facebook, which has been renamed to Meta. Right, this is also a term in news. That is why it is important for you to know this. Facebook has been renamed to Meta. But why so? Because Facebook had a metaverse program going on, and it was basically towards the artificial intelligence world for us humans. And on that note, Meta has been taken out and Facebook has been renamed to Meta from its metaverse initiative, right? So this is also terms and news and a part of science and tech. But the most recent article on Molnupiravir, here is the news. Sun Pharma gears up to launch Merck's COVID pill under name Moxvir in India. Looking at the headline, it might not seem very important, but I will give you some important points you need to remember from the exam point of view. The first one is Molnupiravir. Secondly, Molnupiravir. What is the important news behind Molnupiravir? It is the first oral antiviral approved drug by UK Medicines and Health Products Regulatory Agency, that is MHRA, for treatment of mild to moderate COVID-19 in adults. You see the important relevance of this news now. Molnupiravir, which is the first oral antiviral drug approved in UK for mild to moderate COVID-19 patient adults, is coming to India through Sun Pharma in the brand name of Molnupiravir. So this is the important context regarding the term Molnupiravir with respect to India. Even though it is approved in UK, it is yet to receive any approval from India. So the Drug Controller General of India, that is DCGI, is currently reviewing the clinical data of Molnupiravir for treatment of COVID-19 patient in India. Right. Sun Pharma had signed a non-exclusive voluntary licensing agreement with the Merck Sharp Dohme, which is the company head company of Molnupiravir, along with Ridgeback. The non-exclusive voluntary licensing agreement was to manufacture and supply Molnupiravir in India and to over 100 low to middle income countries, right? And it will be sold in India in the name of Molnupiravir. So we have also listened about remdesivir and all such medicines. So Molnupiravir will be the name of the uh, medicine which will be sold in India, but it means its main salt will be Molnupiravir. Like we have heard about crocin, but we know that the main ingredient in crocin is paracetamol, right? So it is basically on that note that Molnupiravir will be the brand name and Molnupiravir will be the main salt in that medicine, right? So moving on to next question. Which of the following statements is incorrect with respect to locusts? Locusts belong to grasshopper family. Locust attacks are most common in Pakistan, India and Iran. Locusts are a part of European Union's list of approved food. Locust's scientific name is Rapelocera. Locusts incorrect statement. So these are the two key points you need to take away from this question. Which among the following is the incorrect statement regarding locusts? Whether or not they belong to grasshopper family, whether or not they are most common in Pakistan, India and Iran, whether they are a part of European Union's list of approved food, or whether their scientific name is Rapelocera. I hope you have marked your answer. You may or may not skip the questions as well, because you have seen that there is a 33% negative marking in your examination. So that will play a crucial role in the final score that you will be attaining in the examination. For practice, you may answer all your questions to check your accuracy, but after a while you need to know which questions do you need to skip, because obviously we are not aiming for a 100% score. We need to just qualify for our mains. So the right answer for question number 3 is locust's scientific name is Rapelocera is the wrong statement. Rapelocera is not the scientific name of locusts, it is the scientific name of butterfly. So before coming to the news, let's just discuss about the statements which were discussed in this question. Locusts and grasshoppers are acridids. They are short-horned insects belonging to family called Acrididae, right? And Rapelocera is the scientific name of butterfly. Okay, so locusts differ from grasshoppers by their capacity to react to high densities. Fine. Recently, locust attacks across Pakistan, India and Iran have damaged a lot of crops. So again, this was covered in the article. Recently, locusts have been added to European Union's list of approved food as a push towards more sustainable farming and diets. So have they been added in the European Union's list of approved food for humans? Well, yes. Previously, we used to serve them as fodder, but now they have also been added in the European Union's list of approved food for humans, and it is as a push towards more sustainable farming and diets. So right, so that explains our options. What was the news behind the locusts? So infestation of desert locust, which has plagued a vast swath from eastern Africa to India in recent years, is closely linked to climate change, right? So it was covered in the Down to Earth article, Climate Change and Locust Infestations. So the Global Landscapes Forum Climate Hybrid Conference took part recently on the sidelines of COP26, right, to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. So basically, the three bodies which organized this event, right, out of this, TMG Think Tank for Sustainability, they came up with 3 important points to counter the locust attacks. First of all, they said that we need to develop a well-functioning early warning system. That means before there are big locust attacks, we have to know when the attacks could happen, and we need to prevent that. Secondly, we need the counting the environmental and human cost through true cost accounting. That means we need not only look that if a locust attack happened and it destroyed one field, we need not just say that a field was destroyed, but we also need to look at the short-term effects and the long-term effects associated with such locust attacks, because to prevent such losses, farmers will be using pesticides. So that was a major concern in the article regarding the use of pesticides, harmful pesticides on the fields to prevent locust attacks, because those pesticides will not only harm the locusts but they will also harm us humans and the soil and the food that we'll be eating, right? Lastly, we need to develop an efficient governance model for this whole issue. Now you see, this is a big news because this is specifically linked to climate change. That is point number one. Secondly, it is linked to India, and that makes it really important. So do remember that the this conference was held on the sidelines of COP26. The name of the conference was Global Landscape Forum Climate Hybrid Conference, right guys? So moving on to next question: which among the following is the second longest river in United Kingdom? Interesting question, no? Well, kindly focus on the word second longest and United Kingdom. The options are River Trent, River Thames, River Severn, or River Seine. Again, I'm sorry if my pronunciation is not right, but we need to focus on the names and the question. So the second longest river in United Kingdom. Second longest river in United Kingdom. The options are River Trent, River Thames, River Severn, or River Seine. So I hope you have marked your answers. And the right answer, as you all might have guessed, is River Thames. So option B is the right answer. River Thames is the second longest river in United Kingdom, right? River Trent is the third longest river in United Kingdom, right? River Seine is in France. And what about River Severn? It is the longest river in Great Britain, right? So the other name for River Thames is also River Isis, and it is the longest river in England. So that is where you might have cancelled out the option B, that we know River Thames to be the longest river, but it is the longest river in England and second longest in United Kingdom, right? So coming up to the news article that was covered in Hindustan Times. So it said that shark seahorses found in biologically dead River Thames. London's famous River Thames is now home to seahorses, eels, seals, and sharks, right? Now the important points we need to note here are: firstly, the river was declared biologically dead 64 years ago in 1957. The river was declared biologically dead 64 years ago in 1957, and yet it is now home to seahorses, eels, seals, and sharks. It was under a survey conducted by the Zoological Society of London. 3 kinds of shark were found in the river. The first variety was shark tope. Now that is the main highlight of this news. We need to remember that shark tope was found in the River Thames. Obviously, we need to remember that it was declared biologically dead in 1957, and yet we have found 3 varieties of sharks. But the tope variety of shark was classified as critically endangered around the world according to IUCN Red List of threatened species. So you see, in a biologically dead river declared 64 years ago, we have found a species of shark which is classified as critically endangered in the IUCN Red List of threatened species, right? Now what is this ZSL? So basically ZSL launched the Greater Thames Shark Project in 2020 to collect data on endangered shark species that live in the outer estuary, right? It was under the survey conducted by ZSL. We found out 3 varieties of shark: the tope, starry smooth, and spurdock, apart from 115 species of fish and wildlife which were found in the river, right? So what are the key takeaways? What will you add up in your notes? Firstly, biologically dead river declared in 1957. River Thames is the second longest river in United Kingdom and the longest river in England. It is home to the critically endangered shark species, the tope, along with 2 other species and 115 species of fish and wildlife, right? Additional add-on note: river Thames flows through the London city. Right, guys? I hope this is clear. Moving on to next question. Which of the following is the fifth founding nation of G5 Sahel force after Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, or Mauritania? The options are Kenya, Chad, Ethiopia, or Senegal. So we are talking about the fifth founding nation of G5 Sahel force after. So we have the four members. I am asking you what is the fifth member of this group. The options are Kenya, Chad, Ethiopia, or Senegal. So please mark your answers. The right answer for question number 5, if you are able to give it correctly, give yourself 2 marks. The right answer is Chad. So Chad is the fifth founding nation of G5 Sahel force. Now firstly, what is Sahel? So as we can see, this belt in Africa is called the Sahel, and basically Sahel is a vast semi-arid region of Africa separating the Sahara Desert to north and tropical savannas to the south, right? So that's why it makes it a part of our geography, right? United Nations had produced a unique support plan targeting the 10 countries to scale up efforts to accelerate prosperity and sustainable peace in the region. So with this we can understand that Sahel is a region which is lacking behind, and it is basically under some conflicts. So United Nations came up with a special plan, unique support plan, to target the 10 countries of Sahel to accelerate its prosperity. That means to basically flourish it out of its miseries and to bring sustainable peace in that region. The target countries, the 10 countries in this Sahel are Burkina Faso, Cameroon, Chad, the Gambia, Guinea Mauritania, Mali, Niger, Nigeria, and Senegal. Right. Now this is the basic background of Sahel. What was the news article? So the news article was that United Nations says many lives lost daily in Africa's Sahel crisis. According to UN, Africa is the hardest hit region by terrorism in the first half of 2021 as the Islamic State and Al-Qaeda extremist group and their affiliates spread their influence. So what we can see that the situation in Sahel is getting worse. So that this article was covered in Indian Express. I would like to give you some more background information. So the G5 Sahel, we just read about Sahel, which is a combination of 10 countries. They further came up with the G5 Sahel. The G5 Sahel is headquartered in Mauritania's capital city, Nouakchott, right? It is an intergovernmental cooperation framework created in 2014. So note that down. G5 Sahel was found in 2014. It was on the initiative of Mauritanian presidency, right? In 2017, G5 Sahel came up with another group that was called the G5, that was called the Cross-Border Joint Force. The name suggests what will be the task of the Cross-Border Joint Force. It was to fight security threats in the Sahel region, and it was really appreciated by United Nations. And yet we are hearing that Sahel is still under a lot of threats, inter-conflicts, and hence United Nations has mentioned it as the hardest hit region by terrorism in the first half of 2021. Right, guys? So this was the news article covered in Indian Express. I hope this is clear. So we are now in the middle of the session. We have covered half of our news and half of our questions. If you are liking the session, please press the like button. If you are liking the session, share it with your friends so that they are able to nurture some good information as well. And if there is anything you want to convey, you want to say, you can comment down in the comment section below. Moving on to next question. In 2018, India had signed a deal to procure S-400 missiles from which of the following countries? Now this is a basic question, so I won't be spending much time on the question. S-400 missiles are being procured in India from which of the following countries? The options are Israel, USA, France, or Russia. I hope you have marked your answers. The right answer is Russia. So India is procuring the S-400 missiles from Russia, right, guys? India had bought the S-400 missile systems for over 5 billion crores in 2018. It is amongst the most advanced air defense system in the world. It is equipped with 4 different missiles that can engage at 400 kilometers, 250 kilometers, the medium range of 120 kilometers, and short range of 40 kilometers. So you see, firstly, it is the most advanced defense system in the world. We are taking it from Russia at a price of $5 billion, estimated at 35,000 crores in 2018. Right? What is the special ability of this particular system? Firstly, it has a long range of 400 kilometers, but within one single missile, we have 4 different types of missiles that can range up to 250 kilometers, 120 kilometers, or 40 kilometers. Lastly, it can track up to 100 targets and engage 6 of them simultaneously. So you see how advanced is this particular missile, and what is the importance of this missile for India, because we'll now be able to target 400 kilometers far away aerial targets. Right, guys? So we are procuring this missile from Russia. What could be the possible outcomes for our relationships with respect to USA for procuring such advanced machinery from Russia? So we know about this act. So this is basically countering America's adversity through Sanctions Act in America, and America has threatened that India will be sanctioned under this act by USA for procuring such missiles. But what is the not a good news, but we could say that even China has procured the S-400 missiles. Their range is limited to 300 kilometers though, but even China could be sanctioned by USA. So we'll see how this plays out, but what you need to take away from this news are this CAATSA Act of USA, that is countering America's adversity through Sanctions Act, could be implied on India due to procuring S-400 missiles, of the details of which we have just discussed. Right. So moving on to next question: which of the following bodies will be replaced by National Interlinking of River Authorities? National Interlinking of River Authority, NIRA. Giving you a small hint. So NIRA will be replacing which of the following? Ministry of Jal Shakti, National Water Development Agency, Task Force for Interlinking of Rivers, or none of the above. So please choose your answer. Please choose your options. The right answer for question number 7 is NWDA. So NWDA will be dissolved under NIRA. So what is NIRA? So Center has proposed to set up a new body for interlinking for river linking projects in India. It will be named NIRA, National Interlinking of Rivers Authority. It will be headed by a Government of India Secretary rank officer, right? It will be an independent autonomous body for planning, investigation, financing, implementation of river interlinking projects in the country. So we can say it will be an umbrella for all other river interlinking projects in India. It will be an umbrella. It will be the head organization that will now replace NWDA, that is National Water Development Agency. It will also have 2 special roles. It will have the power to raise funds and act as repository of borrowed funds. Along with that, it will also be able to coordinate with neighboring countries. So you see that we have come up with NIRA, that will be replacing NWDA. NIRA, which is a autonomous body for the river interlinking projects in India. Right, guys? I hope this is clear. This is a very interesting topic. You can also go through the link. But these were the important key takeaways from this news from our exam point of view. Right? So moving on to next question. What is the aim of recently launched PACE Declaration? Okay. We are specifically talking about the aim of PACE Declaration 2047. The options are climate resilient development, protect PACE corridor, stop animal poaching, or hornbill census. The aim of PACE Declaration 2047 is climate resilient development. So that is the right answer. So this was an article covered in Indian Express. Arunachal Pradesh cabinet has adopted declaration on climate change. Look, see, This should be your first note in the notebook or whatever wherever you are taking notes. Arunachal Pradesh has adopted the Paket Declaration. Its aim that the state has stated is climate resilient development in the state. Right. So Paket Declaration 2047 adopted by Arunachal Pradesh government on climate change. The aim has been stated as climate resilient development in the state. What are some important points we need to remember for Paket Declaration 2047? It has been divided into 5 pillars called Panchdhara. Panch means Panch, Dhara are the 5 pillars of this declaration. The 5 pillars are listed here: environment, forest and climate change, health and well-being of all, sustainable and adaptive living, livelihood and opportunities, evidence generation and collaborative action. Right. So these 5 pillars will further have 75 strategies, which include protecting forest cover, restoring degraded forest, adopting efficient irrigation measures and others. So these are the important points which I have taken out, but you need to remember 5 pillars, right? They are called the Panch Dhara, and they have further 75 strategies under this Paket Declaration. We also know about the Pake Wildlife Sanctuary, which is in Arunachal Pradesh. It is in the East Kemeng district, and it is known for the sightings of 4 resident hornbill species. Right. So do make this as a point or your revision for the wildlife sanctuaries. Right. So moving on to next question. Kattupaniya tribe belongs to which of the following states? Kattupaniya tribe belongs to the which of the following states? The options are Arunachal Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh, Jharkhand or Kerala. Kattupaniya tribe. Can you recall any news related to Kattupaniya tribe? So the right answer for question number 9 is Kerala. The Kattupaniya tribe is basically a group of nomadic tribal people. The members of Kattupaniya tribe, which were recently rehabilitated in Kerala, have enrolled for Aadhaar cards. Right, guys? So a few years ago, members of nomadic tribal group were rehabilitated from caves near South Wayand, Nilambur Forest Division in Kerala. These rehabilitants have enrolled for Aadhaar cards with the intervention of District Legal Services Authority. Now I would like to state a few facts. These nomadic tribal groups, they did not have any birth certificates, obviously, because the children did not were not born in the hospital, so they did not have any ID proofs, they did not have any birth certificates, they did not have any ration cards. For that, District Legal Services Authority came up with this special initiative, and they launched a camp for the people of Kattupaniya tribe, which were rehabilitated recently, to give them the Aadhaar cards so that they could be given the benefits of government schemes. But what were some challenges which were faced? Well, they are highly introverted and they do not like to mingle with outsiders, hence their Aadhaar cards could not be seeded. Hence, DLSA came up with the initiative to set up a camp for the enrollment of Aadhaar cards of these people. Secondly, they were provided with concrete houses, but still they prefer to live in their makeshift huts alongside those houses. Right. So DLSA conducted a camp to issue these rehabilitants Aadhaar card and open their bank accounts. Right. So remember, Kattupaniya tribe belongs to Kerala and they have recently enrolled for Aadhaar cards. Right, guys. Moving on to last question for today. This will decide your score for today. Appointment of directors of the CBI, Central Bureau of Investigation, and Enforcement Directorate can be extended how many times? Appointment of directors of CBI and Enforcement Directorate can be extended how many times? The options are once, twice, thrice, or none of the above. So if you do not wish to choose any of the first 3 options, you can go ahead with none of the above. But if that is wrong, you will still be awarded negative marking. So keep that in mind. The appointment of director of CBI and ED can be extended once, twice, or thrice. The right answer for this is thrice. Now, this is a recent update. So directors of CBI and enforcement direct may now continue in their jobs for a period of 5 years if the government desires. Center brings ordinances to extend tenure of CBI and ED directors up to 5 years. Now, in recent ordinance, so how will this be extended up to 5 years? The tenure for which a director is appointed is 2 years, and previously this extension could be done once for a period of 1 year, hence taking their term to a total of 3 years, right? But now the government has come up with an ordinance that will allow them to extend it in this manner: 2 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, and now their tenure can be tallied into 5 years, right? So that is how their tenure can be extended up to 5 years if the government desires. Now coming up to the two important acts, that are the Delhi Special Police Force Act 1946 and the CVC, that is Central Vigilance Commission. The important points we need to remember from our exam point of view related to this news currently are that CBI is governed by the DSPE Act, that is the Delhi Special Police Establishment Act 1946, and the Director of Enforcement ED is under the CVC Act, right? So ordinance have been made in these two acts in order to increase their tenure up to 5 years if the government desires, right guys? I hope you found this session to be informative, and with that I would like to conclude today's session. For any queries you can send us an email at hello@edutap.co.in. Do like the session, subscribe to our YouTube channel, share the video with your friends, and comment down in the comment section if you have anything to say. Signing off, Devanshu Gupta.